Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Angela for those of you who are new here, and I focus on all things fashion, style, with a little sprinkle of beauty and decor in between. Today's video is going to be really quick. I just wanted to share a few tips on how to look expensive. Before we get into today's video, I'll quickly share what I'm wearing. Everything is pretty much from Zara. I have this new kind of bodysuit, this beautiful royal blue double-breasted blazer, this mixed metal necklace. This is from Zara, so all three of those pieces were from Zara. These earrings are from Target, and Hermes bracelet. I will link anything that is still available. I know, like, this blazer, I got it. I don't believe it's available any longer, at least in this color, but they usually have it every season and they just come out with new colors. So I will link whatever is still available, and let's get into the video. Okay guys, so today's video is going to be all about tips to look more expensive. I hear this all the time as a stylist, right? Because people think that, oh, well, you know, everything has to be, you know, shop designer for you to look a certain way. And I always have to tell people, it's really expensive. Number one is a mindset, just like luxury is a mindset. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to always go out and buy every designer piece and wear it head to toe. It's about being creative. It's about knowing how to shop smart, and it's about doing some small tweaks and hacks here and there that's definitely going to elevate your look to look more expensive. So I wanted to share just 5 quick tips. So most of these things, it doesn't require you to go out and spend a lot of money. Just some small things you can do to elevate our looks and look more expensive. Number one, this is probably my favorite thing to do, and that anyone can do. You can do this with pieces that you already own, and that is to create a monochromatic look. So for those of you who don't know, a monochromatic look is basically selecting one color and you wear that color from head to toe. Right, you can mix it up sometimes, so like you can wear a different color shoe, but I normally try to stick with something like a metallic or a neutral. You don't want to introduce another color, but the idea is to take one color and you wear that from head to toe. Guys, I don't know what it is, but it just looks so chic. It just gives you rich all the way. I don't care what color you select, it's giving you rich all the way, okay? It's giving you expensive because it's just so, like I said, it's so simple. Like, I didn't think too much, but it just hits you when you see somebody and you're like, wow. And especially in certain colors, right? We know we can do an all black. That's easy. Everyone has black. Everyone does an all black look. But I think, like, when you select an unexpected color and you do that in a monochromatic all look from head to toe, it's just like, right? So some of my favorite colors to do this with is gray, navy, burgundy, because there's so many varying tones, and that's the key to a great monochromatic look. And I think is what makes it look more expensive is you want to think of 2 things: textures and tones, right? So you want to make sure that you vary the tones so that it's not too flat. So if you're thinking of gray, you could do a nice charcoal gray with mix it with heather gray. And then you want to think about textures, so mixing those textures. So you don't want to put on everything the same. So you might want to have on a nice tailored suit once you put on a nice silk blouse. You might put on a silk blouse with a pair of leather pants or trousers or a skirt. You might do organza, you know, mixed with some fur, just anything. But when you vary those tones and textures, that is really what is going to make it look more expensive, right? Because it's not so flat. It's giving the outfit interest, and it has to make people stop. Even though you're wearing one color, the interest is going to come from all of the different tones and textures, where people are going to like, stop, oh girl, yep, I see you, right? So think about that next time. If you want to look more expensive, you probably have something like this already in your closet. Go in, select a color, see what pieces you have in that color in different tones, and you can put something together, and I guarantee you 100% of the time it's going to be giving expensive. Okay, this is. Oh, another tip is adding a third piece. Now, a third piece, like I said, is something like, can be anything from a blazer, which is my favorite. I have on this blazer right now, a blazer, an oversized coat, a vest, a shawl, like a cape shawl, you think about like anything that's going to be and it's just an extra piece, right? So if you think you have on slacks and a top, and it could be simple, a bodysuit, a sweater even, you add that third piece on and it instantly adds polish. And how you want to wear it, right? You can easily just like slip it on, but I think the best way to wear a third piece besides a vest is just like draping it over your shoulders. It's something about that that's just so effortless but so chic and polished, because it looks like, oh, I'm not trying too hard, I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna put this over my shoulder, I'm just gonna walk out, I'm just gonna walk into the restaurant with this. But it just adds that extra that extra chic you need for your outfit. The third piece is what adds the chic. It's what adds the polish. And you want to think about that in a neutral tone. That's always going to be easy to wear, easy to throw on. And, you know, just drape that thing over. So if you have a blazer, if you have an oversized coat, if you just drape it over your shoulders as that third piece before you walk out the door, it's giving rich all the way. It's giving expensive all the way. I don't know what it is about it, but it just definitely gives you that feel of like, oh, it's like effortless, but not. And it just gives it gives your look an overall polished feel. And that's really what brings me to my next point about looking more expensive, looking more elevated, is adding the polish. Okay, this one I feel like is not talked about as much. I think we've heard some of the others, but I think this one is really important because your overall ensemble, it really includes three things. It's not just your actual clothing, right? But we want to think about it as a trifecta. It's your clothing, it's your hair, and it's your makeup. And I'm not condoning that you have to be out here in a full face of makeup and, you know, a certain thing. I'm just talking about an overall grooming and an overall polish. Sometimes people feel like, okay, I have, I have on everything expensive. I have on everything. What's that voiceover? I'm wearing everything expensive. I'm wearing everything exclusive. I gotta figure out what that is. I just know I heard it on like TikTok or something. But that is not what makes you look expensive, okay? But you gotta think about your overall look. It's not just the clothing that you wear, but it's every piece that comes together. I've seen some of the chicest women have on a sweatsuit, but then, you know, they bring the polish in where, you know, they have like this nice clean face of makeup, or they have a really chic hairstyle, and that is what adds that polish, what kind of gives it that look of being expensive. So you want to think about the balance when you think about polish. Polish does not unnecessarily mean perfect, but you just want to have one of those three elements that is giving what it needs to give, right? So if you have on a really great outfit, your hair could be a little bit undone, maybe pull back in a little sleek chignon or something, right? If you have on a full face of makeup, you could easily run out in you know, a cute little sweatsuit, and you're going to look really expensive and polished, right? If your hair is done, I don't know about you guys, but when my hair is done, I could put on a trash bag and walk out this house and be like, I'm that girl, because it's just something about, you know, having your hair done that just makes you instantly elevated, right? Thinking about the polish and how your overall grooming affects your look is what really can make or break you looking expensive or not expensive. Okay, so another quick tip, and this is something super easy. It sounds really silly, but it really does make the difference, is the appearance of your clothing, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you have to have something super expensive, but, you know, whatever you are wearing for the day, make sure that it is steamed. Make sure that it is pressed. Make sure it is ironed. Make sure it is free of stains, free of lint, right? Those simple steps really can make or break how expensive you look, right? Because if you have on a nice silk blouse and you come out and it's wrinkled and you see the crease lines, it doesn't look as expensive. A simple quick steam will take that from 0 to 100 really quickly, right? Make sure, you know, these are things, again, that don't cost any extra money. You can get an iron, get a steamer. They have really inexpensive ones on Amazon. I prefer a steamer much more than an iron, because you can hold it, you can get into those crevices. It doesn't have to leave such a hard press, you know, when you're trying to use an iron. But you also can get a lint roller, because think about when you have, especially when you have darker clothing on that can pick up lint easily, you can instantly just carry that in your purse. They have travel ones. You roll that over your pants, roll it over your sweater, so that you don't have all of that lint, you know, coming and showing on your clothing. Another big one is you know, when you get the little peelies on your sweaters and things like that, you know, get the little peel shaver. They have those on Amazon. I'll link a couple of those items below. These are things, again, that you can keep with you in your purse, you know, because you can't stop that from happening, but that makes all the difference thinking about the overall appearance of your clothing. So sometimes it's not so much about the quality, right? You can have on a less expensive piece, but you want to make sure that it is ironed, right? You iron that pair of pants, right? It looks so much more polished. It's so much better than you just taking something right out of, you know, the box, putting it on, taking that blouse right out of the package and not steaming it and ironing it, right? So that's another tip to looking expensive. And my last tip, guys, and this, again, if you have watched my style resolutions video, go back if you haven't, but this is probably just one of the major ways that will take you from looking, I don't want to say cheap, I don't like to use that word, but I just like to say less polished. But if you want to look more expensive, it's tailoring. Get your clothes tailored, right? Because the fit is what really adds to how you look, how expensive that you look is by the fit of your clothing, right? And I'm not talking about things being baggy or, you know, more fitted, like one is better than the other. I'm saying just the overall fit of the overall look you want to achieve, right? So if you have a blazer, you know, that is too big, get it taken into the size if you want to have like a certain look. If you have a pair of pants, you know, I used to always struggle from this because my hips are much wider than my waist. I had the tiniest waist, no, not so much these days, but I had the tiniest waist, but I always had a larger hip and like you know, bottom. So I could always, you always have to get clothing to fit the larger part of your body. So I would have to get a larger size and pants to fit like my thighs and hips, but I will always be left with that gap at the back of my waist. I'm sure many of you probably can attest to this. You have that gap or that gape in the back. That's a quick fix, right? If you see that, it doesn't look as polished, it doesn't look that great if you're walking and your shirt comes up and you see that gape in the back, right? So you can easily take that to a tailor and get them to adjust that waist for you, right? If you want to, a tailor can also change out the buttons. That's another tip that, you know, can make or break you looking expensive and looking, you know, less expensive, right? When you get certain blazers and jackets, sometimes they can have buttons that don't look as, you know, can look a little bit cheap, depending on the price. Now you can easily order some buttons from Amazon, wherever, order something and swap those out, which is something a tailor can easily do, and that instantly is going to elevate that look. If you take those plastic buttons off of something and you add some nice ornate buttons, a nice minimal gold button that you purchase, again, doesn't mean it has to be super expensive, but it just makes it look a little more custom, you know, customize it. So I think that adding those type of elements, so good, that was actually 6 tips. Okay, so we said 5, but that was 6. Swapping out those buttons. Okay, swap out those buttons, you know, add some of your own unique elements. And why this is going to make it look more expensive is because you're adding your own unique touch on it. So someone else can buy that same piece out of the store, but it's not going to look the same on you because you've changed it up, right? Whether you've added a scarf or changed out those buttons, you know, maybe you added it and said, I'm going to move the buttons over so that it's asymmetrical. Anything like that can really take your look and make it look more expensive. But that is really a big one too. So I gave y'all a little bonus tip on here, okay? But again, those were just some quick tips I wanted to share with you guys because, like I said, looking expensive is a mindset, but it's also something, small changes and small tweaks and hacks that we can do that don't have to break the bank. It doesn't mean you have to go out and buy designer everything. It just means that I'm going to put my best foot forward. I'm going to be creative. I'm going to use what I got, and I'm going to look the best that I can just by changing some of these small things that we can do every single day and that we might already have in our wardrobe, or that are inexpensive fixes, right? So I hope that these tips were helpful. We can do a part 2 because there's definitely some more in-depth options to looking more expensive, again, without necessarily having to break the bank. So share your tips below as well. I hope that these tips were helpful, that you can use some of them, and that's all I got for you guys. All right, see y'all next time. Bye.